My wife bought a RoboVac. So she brought it home and we used it, and I very quickly saw some of the benefits to this device, but I was intrigued by the algorithm as I watched it kind of aimlessly try to get around the floor. See, some of the vacs have a much more intelligent feature set than some of the other ones, and therefore you have a wide range of cost and options and availabilities out there. When I checked into the RoboVacs with a little bit more detail, I found that there was a myriad of different features and feature sets that you can get with these vacuum cleaners. One of the main things that you're seeing today on a lot of these vacuum cleaners is the mopping feature. They have a very cool wheel system in the back of some of these that will spin around, release little bits of water and dampen the pads, and they'll mop your floors for you. And when they get to carpet, they'll actually pick up their pads, vacuum the carpet, and then continue mopping once they're back onto the hardwood. I'm not all that interested in the mopping feature because I'm just not crazy about putting down a lot of water on my wood floors. But I do like to keep the dust, debris, the dust bunnies, the hairs, all that stuff up off the floor. And that's something that these things have been able to do well for a long time. My wife's a little bit upset with me because I trumped her idea and I went out and bought something a little bit better. Well, it's a lot better. The original bots used to come out and they had kind of an algorithm and a little bumper bar. So when they would drive around, they'd hit something and it would say, okay, you hit something, back up, pivot a little bit left, go forward again. If you hit it again, back up, pivot a little bit more left until the item actually cleared the thing that it was bumping into. But what happens, I find, is I have multiple rooms that link in multiple ways with doorways and connection points and things like that. So this device will start off in the kitchen and then it'll slip through the dining room door, and next thing you know, it's in the dining room, and it actually doesn't cover all the vacuuming areas as I'd like it to. If you had a smaller place, that kind of a bot would be perfectly fine, but my place is a little bit larger and the rooms are connected in funny ways, so I have more of a challenge. So in looking at the different devices that are out there, you've got different choices of navigation. Some of them just go bump around and kind of lay out the room. Others use something called LiDAR, which all of our phones can do, where it kind of contours the exterior walls of your house and determines the layout of your home, which we'll take a tour of that in a second. And others are even equipped with a camera. The reason they have a camera is there's a major pitfall with these vacuum cleaners. They're good, they go out, they do their job, they can navigate, but they're not super smart. Meaning when they pull up on dog waste or cat waste that's sitting on the carpet, I'd say 8 out of 10 of them will run it right over and smear it all over the place. So that's a big problem. So a lot of these vacuum companies came out with devices that had a camera and they incorporated some AI, and they basically showed these devices, 1,000 or 200,000 photos of animal waste and said, if you see anything that looks like this, don't run it over. And a lot of them do very well with it. And I think one company even has some kind of poop guarantee, but we'll not get into that because I'm not that concerned. I don't have pets. So what I wanted to do today is talk about the one that I picked, the reason that I picked it, and the things that it can do. I picked the RoboRock Q7 Max Plus. Of all the manufacturers of these vacuum cleaners, there's like 2 or 3 premier, top dogs. I would say RoboRock is one of them. Dreamy is another one. I think you have the Roomba iRobot people, and there might be like Shark. I think those are kind of like the players. There's more. There's Eufy and other companies out there, but I did a lot of research. RoboRock always had the top 2 or 3 vacuums, so that's kind of why I stuck with that brand. And there was another major reason that I picked it coming up here shortly. So in looking at these things, I said, well, I don't want the camera because I don't have a dog or a cat and I don't have waste. Something about cameras driving around in a little car makes me nervous. So I went with the unit that has LiDAR, that is mainly vacuum focused with a single mop pad. I didn't go for the more extravagant mopping features, and I didn't want one that had a water exchange base because I just didn't care about all those features, and I just didn't want to get into more things that could possibly break in the future. So I wanted to stay simple. I did, however, want a unit that could map out my floor, that could vacuum and clean in an orderly fashion, meaning like pick a room and you go do it. I wanted something fairly programmable. I wanted something with good battery life that could cover my entire floor, and something that was a good brand and would last for a while. In the RoboRock, you have several lines. You have the Q lines, the S lines, and now they have a Q Revo that is out. And the S lines are the more premier lines, and the Q is more, I guess, downgraded. But the Q has so many features. So there was a Q5 before the Q7, or maybe they were simultaneous. I don't know exactly how the lines came out. But the Q7 has, it's a medium-high vacuum capability. They rate these vacuum cleaners with a certain amount of sucking force, and I forget what the term is used, but you know, the newer, better ones are at like 5,500, whatever units they are, and mine is at 4,200. And to give you a frame of reference, the one my wife bought, I think, is at 2,200. So the one I have is about double what my wife had as far as sucking power, and it is much more intelligent with navigating and getting around rooms and stuff like that. When you get this unit, you're going to pull it out of the box, and one of the first things you're going to do is you're going to set it up with your phone. The phone app allows you to dial in your maps, to do the mapping, to set up schedules, and do a numerous array of other things. If you don't have the phone app, it's basically a couple of buttons. It's just go and clean, and then go home, and then off. As soon as you get this thing out, it wants to connect with your phone, use your phone's Wi-Fi, then it wants to jump onto its Wi-Fi. It does these like little rigmarole movements of connecting and reconnecting to try to update its firmware to get going. And I kept having a problem where it would say, can't finish, can't complete, can't connect, or whatever. And I was worried at first that I had a 2.4 gigahertz versus a 5 gigahertz problem with my router. Don't panic too much, because I think your router is going to be fine. So if you get one of these and it's not connecting at first, the biggest tip of the day right here, what you want to do before you connect your RoboRock vacuum cleaner to the app is you want to go into your settings and you want to turn off cellular data. For some reason, your phone, when it loses connection to the Wi-Fi and it loses connection to data, it'll say, do you want to continue over cellular data? And when you're in the middle of setting this up, this thing pops up and it's like, I don't know, do I hit yes? Do I hit no? I don't know what the right answer is. And then sometimes you hit the button and it kills the whole operation. So before you set this thing up, just go into settings, turn off cellular data, set this thing up, get it all like talking and acting nice. Once it's good, you can turn everything back on. You're good to go. Once you get this thing on and connected to the internet and all the firmware is updated and everything, you then go into a feature and you send it out to do mapping of a floor. And what I'm going to do today is map my final floor of my house. I have a basement, first and second floor. And what this does is it will cruise around in no specific pattern, and it'll just shoot LiDAR all over the place and start to fill in walls. So something you're going to want to do before you get this thing going is you're going to go over here into your app. When you come into this application, you're going to enter into the machine and you're going to see a map that comes up. Now this is the upstairs of my house that I did yesterday, and then you can change the map by just going over here, manage maps, and you can see I have a first floor and a second floor, and I'm going to add a floor. Now when you start this device will automatically try to establish where it is. It's going to say, looking around, trying to figure out where I'm at, and it'll recognize what map it's on just by the LiDAR and the feedback that it gets from its environment, and then it will know what map to align with. So let's go ahead and set this up. So we're going to enter here. Okay, we're going to go into Manage Maps, which is the top three buttons on the right. You can see I already have two maps, and we're going to go into a third map, and I'm going to do Quick Mapping. Starting mapping. And it automatically says Starting Mapping. And it's just going to start shooting LiDAR everywhere. And you can see immediately it starts to fill in. And we're just going to follow it around here and watch it do its thing. And you can stand next to it. It might see you as a piece of furniture or something, but it's not going to really impede its ability to see. And it leaves a trail of where it's been and where it's going, and it just starts to walk around. During this test, you may want to have some of the items that are laying on the ground picked up. It'll do a better job, but ultimately it won't matter. We've progressed a little bit. It has actually mapped out the shape of my couch. You can see that on the screen here. It has the couch, the ottoman, or the couch and the front table. Now, one thing I've noticed is when this thing goes to set up on some floor systems, sometimes it'll go by a door and not even realize that it missed a room. What you can do is after it's finished mapping and after it's finished with its process, you can grab that device and just set it close proximity to the door you want it to go in, and then hit start again on the mapping sequence. And what it'll do is it will actually relocate itself on the map, figure out where it's at, and then add that room to the mapping system. So it's not perfect, but it does a pretty darn good job. Like for my first floor, it didn't miss a single room. It just went across the first floor and got everything right. On my second floor, it like missed a closet here or missed, you know, like a bedroom door. You know, it will map out the whole layout of your house. It just takes a little bit of time. I wanted to give you a quick room clean sample for the RoboRock. It has the base station that empties. So what this thing is going to do is it's going to go through a whole clean cycle, come back to the base, empty its contents, and I want to show you this thing soup to nuts. Now the cleaning cycle I'm going to speed up so you don't have to sit through the whole thing, but you'll see it in action as we go. So when you pull up the app, you're going to come to the home screen. You're going to see the RoboRock Q7 Max, and then you can go in here to the enter button, and that'll take you to the map. And on this map, what you do is select a room that you want to clean. So when you go to clean a room, you go down below, you see the three icons, you go rooms. That's going to mean that you want to clean a particular room. You can also clean a zone, and you can identify a zone that you'd like to clean. We'll do that in a second, but let's stick to the rooms. I'm going to go up here and select the room. It's the top right. You can see the little lollipop icon kicks up on the top right, and all you have to do from this point on is kick the clean button and it will go into action.
Starting selective room cleaning.
And we're on our way. I'm going to go ahead and film this whole process. I'll speed it up so you don't have to sit through the whole thing.
Returning to dump.
Okay, we're going to park it and it's going to clean itself out. This might be a little noisy, but it's going to give you a feel of what this thing is like.
Charging. Emptying dustbin.
And you can see that took 13 minutes flat. It's cleaned 140 square feet. This is all at the top. And it's 93% battery level. So this one room took about 7%. So that's quite a few rooms or a lot of space that this thing could clean. And yeah, that's it. Basically from there, you go back to your main page and you have the starting point and this thing's ready to go for the next time. Well, guys, that about wraps it up. I wanted to just share this information with you, show you what I thought about the Q7 Max Plus, and also tell you ultimately why I bought it. This has recently gone on sale. I think it's about $450 on Amazon. And I checked with Home Depot, and I'm a contractor, and I have some Home Depot points. So by the time I took the $450 and applied my $350 Home Depot points to it, it was like $100 for me. So it was an absolute no-brainer. I'm so happy with it. I know there's probably ones out there that have more features and might be a little bit better, but for what I do, this is perfect. So any comments, questions, or anything that you have, hit me down below. And thanks for watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And thanks for coming along.